Good morning, everybody. I can see that people are beginning to join us, but numbers have sort of tailed off a bit, so which is great. So I think we're ready to rock and roll. Um, it's so good to be with you all again. And firstly, a huge thank you to Hounslow Council for generously sponsoring this webinar. Yesterday, Lisa and I realised that it was Black Monday, which was said to be the saddest day of the year. We're only midway through January. Christmas seems, a long way away. It's grey, bleak. But at least when I wrote these words at about half an hour ago, there was a little bit of sunshine, but that seems to have now gone. But hey, there you go. But the evenings are getting a little bit lighter, so there is hope. Um, we have an interesting panel of speakers for you today, all coming from our chamber membership. The webinar is being recorded and will be on our YouTube channel, possibly later on today. So let's get started. First up is Simon Tibbo. Simon, do you want to turn your camera on? Simon is from All Health Matters, which is an award-winning employee-owned occupational health provider supporting over 400 businesses and 30,000 employees across the UK and beyond. From their modest beginnings in Kent, they've grown to deliver high-quality health and wellbeing services to organisations of all sizes, from FTSE 100 giants to local micro businesses, across sectors including oil and gas, transport, education, entertainment, shipping, to name but a few. Simon, over to you, please.
Sally, thanks. Hi, everybody. Nothing like going first on the webinar. Yes, thanks for the introduction, Sally. That's absolutely correct. I'm from a little company called All Health Matters, who are an occupational health provider. If I can make my screen change, there we go. Founded 16 years ago. We're 16 this year, in a shed in a garden in Kent by my managing director, who is now currently trying to quietly retire away from the business and let us take the realms. We have 3 regional clinics. We have the Canterbury HQ, and then we have 2 London-based clinics. We're in the East and the West, so hence me being here with the West London Chambers team. We have a little mobile van that likes to drive around the place, offering occupational health support to companies at site. We have a strong professional team, which has grown now. I joined, I think I was the 21st person when I joined back in 2022. We now have about 33 people, that's operational and clinical. And then we have very high standards, and you'll see we're very proud of the Sequosh banner. We've just achieved that one. First thing this year, we spent a lot of time last year working through the submission so that we could be signed off for the Safe, Effective, Quality Occupational Health Service accreditation. That's quite an achievement for us. So I wanted just to talk to you today a little bit about occupational health, what it is. I don't know who knows much about OH. I don't know how many people are on the webinar today, but some of you will most likely have a little bit of experience. Some of you will have no idea whatsoever. So the Society of Occupational Medicine, the SOM, might tell you that occupational health is a strategic intersection of work and well-being. That's very nice, but we like to keep things simple. We like to say occupational health is a solution to identify how health affects an employee's ability to work and how work affects an employee's health. Nice and straightforward. Unlike general medicine, occupational health services tend to be more bespoke. They are designed to meet the specific requirements of a business. So if we're talking about food manufacturing, or if we're talking about engineering, they will have different occupational health requirements. The goal is essentially just to keep the working population productive, healthy, and at work. This is an old slide I borrowed from a previous presentation. I think the point here was that occupational health is the overarching umbrella that covers both of the sort of core pillars of a business. You've got the health and safety side of things and the HR side of things. So if we think back to how work affects an employee's health and how health affects an employee's ability to work, they're your 2 core pillars, and they sit nicely, one with health and safety and one with HR. So the how work affects an employee's health focuses really on the risks an employee faces within the workplace. So think about things like noisy environments, dusty environments, vibrating tools, physical stresses. Health surveillance is a monitoring process that checks to see if the employee's health is being adversely affected by the risks a business placed that person in front of, so those risk exposures. Um, Anybody who's listening today with any knowledge of health and safety will be aware of your legal, moral, financial reasons for adherence to the Health and Safety at Work Act of 1974 and the Management of Health and Safety Regulations in 1999. I'm not going to go into those in too much detail, but they have specific requirements within them for particular risks to have health surveillance in place. If you think about your HSE's hierarchy of control, where they say if there is a risk in place, can you eliminate the risk? Can you substitute the risk? Can you engineer controls? Can you provide administrative controls? Or lastly, can you provide somebody who faces risk with protective equipment? Um, if you're at the bottom of that hierarchy and you've provided somebody with some protection, how do you know that protection is working? How do you know that the individual is indeed putting the ear defenders on when they go into their noisy environment? And the way to do that is to carry out an annual health surveillance program just to check to see each year whether that individual's hearing or their lung function is being affected by those risks. And then your other side of the coin, how health affects an employee's ability to work, is your HR side of things. So case management, you might have individuals within a business who are on long-term sick, and the business aren't really too sure how to help that individual, how to accommodate them. So occupational health provider service, we call it case management or management referrals. And that's where a business might come to occupational health for third-party intervention. So we would hold consultations with the individuals to understand the issue, how they're being affected by the issue, and how that in turn is affecting them within their role, and then provide a business with a bit of strategy, some recommended reasonable adjustments that might help accommodate that individual within the workplace. So looking at the HSE's statistics, I don't know if anybody saw this over the last week. HSE have just released their annual statistics poster, which they like people to put up in the workplace. I've cherry picked a few. There are all sorts of statistics on the poster, but these three stood out for me at the top. You've got 1.9 million working people suffering from a work-related illness, which essentially is, like I was talking about, the health surveillance element. If you have a health surveillance program in place and you're keeping an eye on the health of your workforce as per the exposures within the workplace, typically you could potentially bring that number down a little bit. 964,000 workers suffering work-related stress, depression, or anxiety. That one leans a little bit more towards the case management side of things. If you've got workers in those scenarios, and as a business, you're thinking, well, how do we help this individual? What can we do to make their life a bit easier at work and to not exacerbate these issues? Then occupational health can step in and help out. And then your 511,000 workers suffering from a work-related musculoskeletal disorder. I kind of thought that felt like it sat under both sides of the coin there, really. You could have had some proactive health surveillance in place to ensure that person isn't being affected by their role. But at the same time, if there is a musculoskeletal issue, then case management would be able to help. You might be able to find some adjustments to make. All in all, though, health of the workforce is quite staggering when you look at the numbers. 40.1 million working days lost due to work-related illness and workplace injury. And that's against a UK population of about 34.2 million people. So it's quite a lot of time. So what does that mean for occupational health? Even though it sounds pretty fantastic, occupational health is woefully underused. Numbers aren't exact, and they're from a couple of years old study, but it's estimated that about 34% of the UK workforce doesn't have access to occupational health at all. Quite a lot of businesses see occupational health as an avoidable cost instead of an investment. And it's not all the fault of the consumer. Here in occupational health, we've got our own industry concerns. We have a UK-wide OH recruitment crisis. Essentially, um, OH nursing has kind of fallen off the educational map, if you like, and not a lot of people are coming through into the occupational health world. About 44% of OH providers in the last couple of years have been unable to fill OH nurse and physician vacancies. So we've got this sort of top tier hole in our resource. Because of clinical shortage, about 53% of providers have been forced to decline work, which is pretty horrendous statistic, really, when you're looking at turning away business because you can't support it. And we've been extremely lucky in All Health Matters in the sense that we've got good resource and we've had success in recruiting. And we have routes for the training of people who want to join occupational health from another health industry. So we look at registered general nurses, we look at people in sort of health and fitness industry who might have the will to transition over and do something else. So we look to help qualify and train people through. But it is very difficult for us in occupational health. So what's next for OH? What is the path forward? Well, we like to think that occupational health is the key to a resilient, productive future. When I say we, I've borrowed that from the Society of Medicine again. It is true, though. OH is an investment. It helps a business conform to statutory regulations, saving potential fines. It reduces sickness absence. It keeps people healthy. It keeps them in work, and it reduces recruitment and training costs. It's fantastic. It promotes a good corporate image. So if you're looking to try and win tenders, it helps encourage the younger generation. They tend to like the benefits of health support within the workplace. So it really does help you sort of recruit new blood into the workforce. And it boosts engagement with the team. If you've got occupational health support and you promote health within the company, you'll have an employee workforce that are very engaged with the business. So all in all, I think a healthy workforce is the backbone to a healthy economy, and occupational health can help us achieve that. That is it from me, Sally. I hope everybody learned a little bit about OH today.
That's Simon, that was absolutely brilliant. Thank you. Because
You're
I'm one of
welcome.
those people that didn't know anything. So you've explained an awful lot. So this is why I really enjoy these webinars. Just so we all of us learn what our actual members do.
Mm,
Thank you so much indeed. That's fascinating.
very welcome.
Right, our next speaker is from Crisis Homeless Alliance. Now, I met Vicky Richards a few months back, and we had a fascinating conversation about hidden homelessness, especially in the construction sector. Sadly, Vicky's not very well today, but Emma has stepped into her shoes ably. So, Emma, do you want to talk us through? As I say, when I met with Vicky, I was absolutely amazed at the things she told me. So, Emma, over to you, please.
Absolutely. Thank you for having me. I will introduce myself. I'm Emma. I am the Community Partnerships Manager for South England at Crisis. So obviously, most people here on the call probably know who Crisis are. We are a national homelessness organisation, and a lot of the work that we do is around campaigning and policy work. So through the work that we do there, we develop different projects, and the Homelessness Alliance really is one of those key successes that we have. The Homelessness Alliance was essentially a national employer-led initiative that was set up by Crisis, WUP, and DLUHC. And it's been running, I believe we're in our third year of running the Alliance, and we've had 85 plus employers signing up, which is absolutely brilliant. I'm going to talk you through what the Alliance is, how we were set up, and then also talk about how, if you're interested, you can then join us in being a part of our Alliance. So essentially, the Alliance has one vision, and that is to prevent and end homelessness starting in the workplace. A lot of the research that we've done found that people, even though they had jobs, didn't have that stability of a home. Maybe they were sofa surfing, or maybe they were staying at friends and family's houses. And I think that really explores that hidden homelessness initiative that we don't necessarily know much about in a general perspective point of view. I think a lot of people would associate homelessness as rough sleeping, or if people are maybe from different walks of life, the refugees, like there isn't necessarily loads spoken about that hidden homelessness approach. Now, we have 3 pillars as part of our Homelessness Alliance. That is to help end homelessness in local communities through fundraising, raising awareness, partnerships and volunteering, as well as adopting fairer employer and recruitment policies and practices. And this is to support people affected by homelessness, but also people at risk of homelessness. And we also provide employers with the resources and opportunities to support them if people are at risk of homelessness as well. Now, why was the Alliance created? I touched on it briefly with regards to the research that we've done, but I think some of these statistics are so interesting and something that we probably don't speak about enough. So actually, one of the biggest ones that I'm going to start with is the 58% of employers said that homelessness would harm a job application. And actually 42% of employers said they would dismiss an employee who was homeless. And that really got us thinking at Crisis, well, what more can be done to be able to give employers that support where they feel comfortable to support employees if they are at risk of homelessness or if they are already experiencing homelessness. And essentially, it's making sure that we can provide that support to people. Homelessness does affect people in the workplace, and it can happen to people at any point of time in their lifetime. And essentially, we need to ensure that employers are offered that support and given that opportunity to know that they feel comfortable, they've got the resources to be able to support people. And together, we can ensure that we can break that link between homelessness and the employment exclusion. Now, what have we achieved so far? It says 70 plus businesses, but actually we're at 85 plus businesses currently. And it's great because the Alliance is formed of a real mixture of sizes of companies. We've got small, medium and large companies. And it's great that we're able to do different work with each of these Alliance pledges. But also we're able to bring people together. So it's a real network of being able to share challenges, successes with each other around how the Alliance is helping them support their employees. Essentially, it's just another great resource that companies can offer their employees. And some of the successes that we've done is by partnering with brokerage partners, we've been able to create a recruitment initiative where we are able to work with the employers that are a part of the Alliance and offer training opportunities to our Crisis members that we support. So those are the people that we will support every day at Crisis who come through our doors who are maybe at risk of homelessness or who are already homeless as well. The benefits of signing up, of course, it's an improvement in employee wellbeing and retention because you're showing there's that stability. You're showing that you're giving that support to your employees. And also, we know that there is a cost of turnover. So by supporting staff, you are reducing the expensive recruitment and training costs as well. But it also adds to the reputation and brand value of taking action and helping us really campaign and advocate for ending homelessness and really tackling one part of what makes up a massive part of homelessness. And of course, talent attraction. So purpose-driven candidates will choose the employer because they see that you're doing initiatives like this and helping have a social impact. Some other benefits are, of course, making sure that people feel like they've got that safe kind of stability of a workplace and ensuring that there's the reduction of any risks and making sure that there's that diversity and inclusion as well. improved morale and also the reduced disruption, and making sure that you're addressing housing instability as early on as possible. These are some other benefits as well. I'm conscious of time, so I'm not going to read through these because otherwise we'll be talking about so many benefits for the rest of the webinar. And of course, how can you get involved? It's really simple to get involved. It is free to sign up, and you can do this through the Alliance inbox, and you can access our free resources there. The free resources include a best practice guide and also a workplace homelessness guide, which will provide you with those kind of first initial steps. And you can also get access to drop-in sessions and webinars as well. There are different levels of becoming an ally. So, of course, I'm sure Vicky wouldn't mind if you were interested, we can share her details with you after the webinar. And she is always up for a chat. She is great. As Sally mentioned, she had a thorough call with Vicky, and Vicky is great at being able to talk through those benefits in more details and those next steps. So I would really recommend signing up and being a part of the Homelessness Alliance, because it's a really great network that we've created. And I think we're really kind of onto that next kind of step and really looking at expanding it as well. So it's an exciting time to join the Alliance. Thank you, Sally.
Thank you very much indeed, Emma. Yes, I'm now remembering I met Vicky via the Berkeley group.
Yes.
Yes, that's how it all worked out, because there is this huge hidden homelessness within the construction sector with people sleeping in cars and things. And yes, so hence I think I was introduced by Berkeley Group, and hence we had the chat. And I just wanted to bring that to other people's attention, that it is actually out there, and needs to be addressed as much as possible. Thank you so much indeed. Thank you.
Thank you.
Right, our next speaker is Sanjay Vadhera from Right at Home Ealing. Right at Home is a domiciliary care company, but Sanjay is very much involved in the rise of dementia and the difficulties caused by people caring for people with dementia. So, Sanjay.
Hi, good morning. Thank you, Sally. This is a very difficult topic, dementia and Alzheimer's, but what I'll try and do is give a brief feel of what dementia is all about, what it consists of, and the impact on individuals, and how employers can help and assist where possible. So a little bit about myself. So I'm part of Right at Home, which is a franchise. We have 84 offices in the UK. I look after Hounslow, Ealing, Hammersmith, and Fulham. So basically M4 corridor from basically Heathrow into Hammersmith and Fulham. We are a care provider, and we have a lot of patients, or clients, should we say, or family members, should I say, who are impacted with dementia in one form or another. So that's a little bit about me and my little company, but now I'll talk about dementia. The rise of dementia is one of the biggest public health challenges of our time. It affects not only those who are diagnosed, but also the families as well. There are many causes of dementia, but I can give you a feel of the impact. I mean, dementia refers to a group of progressive neurological disorders. Most common is Alzheimer's. It affects your memory, affects your thinking behavior, and the ability to perform just normal activities and duties. The key factors that create a rise towards dementia are three main things, I feel, and I've sort of grouped them into three headings. One, of course, is an aging population, which is, as we know, it has a huge impact on us. When I say aging population, we are now living longer, and the dementia cases are naturally increasing as a result. Also, due to medical science, etc., we are improving our diagnosis of dementia. So there's a greater awareness of dementia, and hence we're able to identify them. And one of the bigger factors is lifestyle, lifestyle factors, which means diabetes, obesity, cardio diseases, and these can all increase the risk of dementia. Another one that we feel, and there's still research going on in this, is lifestyle change in relation to what's happened in the last 30 to 40 years, where people are having their own homes, they're living as nuclear families, and what that has is an impact of lack of interaction with youngsters or other family members, and that lack of human contact has an impact on dementia and is increased risk as well. Now, one of the things that also dementia, that sort of some of the things that you could think about are short-term memory loss, logical thoughts, erratic moods, paranoia, long-term memory is what you do remember. And then obviously it can lead to death. Just to give a few statistics, the World Health Organization has estimated over 55 million people live with dementia, and the number is expected to rise every 20 years. And just in the UK alone, just under 1 million people suffer from dementia. And by, say, the next 10 years, we're looking at 1.6 million. So what they're saying is by 2050, 1 in 2 will suffer from one form of dementia or another, which is quite scary. One of the things that we need to think about is, what does all this mean? Well, affects financially the economy. We're looking at 34 to 36 billion pounds per year and rising on health and social care costs. And this also includes unpaid caregiving. This is clearly an underestimation at the moment, because there are a lot of people that do not record their dementia activities, and that they actually suffer from dementia or their loved ones. So also in the UK, that just alone on the healthcare side, 11.6 billion annually is impacted, majority coming from the public health. So that's where a lot of our taxes go. Now, one of the things that we need to be thinking about is caring for a family member with dementia. It can be really challenging. It can be rewarding. It can affect relationships and impacts us socially and physically as well. So the emotional strain can be quite severe. For example, caring for a family member with dementia can lead to stress, anxiety, and depression, and we've seen it all the time. Caregivers, like family caregivers, often experience guilt and grief over the changes in their loved one's health and personality. They see them progressively get worse. Time. Working families just don't have time. They find it really challenging to balance their job responsibilities with also being a caregiver, providing care at home. So as an employer, as an organization, they may require time off from work just for medical appointments, to manage crises at home when they happen. So these are kind of things one need to think about. There's a financial burden. There's a lot of financial burden on the individual and the family. This includes medical expenses, potential loss of income. If the caregiver has to reduce their work, they may have to go part-time. And this has an impact. And the cost of special facilities or services that may be required. And obviously in a work environment, because the lack of focus, the lack of ability to think on a regular basis like they would have been able to, they decline in focus, their productivity and overall job performance due to the physical and emotional exhaustion that they have to go through. One of the things that we don't talk about is the isolation the caregiver goes through, the individual goes through. They hardly have any social interaction, and their support networks for family members leads to feeling them isolated and lonely as well. There can be very little time difficult to play sports or even just go to the pub with friends and just to take their mind off of what's going on at home without feeling guilty. So what can the workplace do? I think there's a lot work can do. They can change their policies, adapt their policies to support the employees who are caregivers, include offering flexible hours, remote working options, which is quite more and more prevalent now since COVID. Um, employers can provide some sort of assistant programs, have access to occupational health that can be there and understand the employees' challenges. Um, I think communication in the workplace is important, that these assistances are available, these schemes are available. If they're not, you should make them available. As many employees could probably feel guilty or even exposed to show their weakness, if you like, and this, even to show incompetence, and this is how they may feel. They may not want to share all of this. So if you make an open policy, it just makes it easier for them, and they appreciate you as well. So to give caregiver support, there's also so much else available out there in the community that we're just not aware of. And it's easy to find out, to Google it, look out for it, and find out what's available out there. There are a lot of support groups and even respites. Like my company provides a respite and provide care for the individual from 1 hour to 24/7 living. It helps the family, helps the individual to have a life again. At the moment, for the future, without significant research and development and breakthroughs, I think the economic burden of dementia is expected to rise exponentially as the population ages as well. It's only going to get worse. So the way I look at it is dementia affects not only that individual who's diagnosed with it, but also the families in a huge, huge way. The emotional, the physical, the financial toll that they have to go through, what they have to feel, how they feel about their loved ones, how they feel in their environment at work, and the guilt that they have as well is significant. So then it has an impact on their stress and mental health challenges that they have to deal with as well. So I feel it's essential for working family members impacted by dementia to seek some sort of support, use available resources, and communicate with their employers about the situation for better balance and that assistance they can get. So there are efforts to support families and improve awareness, and treatment options are crucial to address this ongoing global dementia crisis. I hope that's been helpful. Sally.
Thank you very much indeed. Sorry, yes, because my lovely mother suffered from dementia.
I know.
And it's bringing back an awful lot of memories. Yeah, it's incredibly tough.
It's horrible.
It is a horrible, horrible disease, and it is going to affect more and more of us.
So, Sally, the most important thing one needs to remember is there is help out there.
Yes.
And people need to, and the employers can really, really help.
Yes, I do think, yeah, people have got to start talking more. Stop trying to keep it all buttoned in. You've got to actually let people know that you're suffering, and then there's help out there.
Yeah.
Thank you very much indeed, Sanjay. Thank you. Next up, we have Catherine and Lisa from Hounslow Council. Now, I know that Catherine was having horrible tech problems.
Sally, I think
yes, it's all working now. I'm glad to say,
brilliant,
Sally.
Brilliant.
Yes,
I hadn't
my
realised. Oh,
computer
that's terrific. Well done. Now, you lovely ladies, you've got the longest job titles in the world. So Catherine is the Senior Public Health Officer, Vulnerable People. And Liza Ctori is the Senior Public Health Officer, Healthy Workforce, Tobacco Control. So love it. I hope I got those right. And I think you wanted to talk about, I don't think people realise, but rates of male suicide are incredibly high. So more sobering statistics, I'm sure. Please, the floor is yours.
Thank you, Sally. Could I have the first slide, Lisa, please? So I'm going to be speaking about men's mental health for a few minutes, and then Lisa's going to be talking about our healthy workforce package. And why are we so focused on men's mental health? Well, I've some stats here or comments. So men are 3 times more likely to die by suicide than women. And actually in Hounslow, 75% of our suicide deaths are by men. Men are less likely to seek professional support for mental health problems. And they're also less likely to open up to their friends, family, or colleagues when they're struggling with their mental health. And finally, men are more likely to use harmful coping strategies such as alcohol or drugs if they're struggling. And we talk about people self-medicating with alcohol or drugs to forget or to escape their problems. And if we look specifically at risk factors for suicide in Hounslow, we can see that those most at risk are men aged 45 to 54 years. Often they've been in a broken relationship, their relationship has broken down and they're living on their own. And that makes them more vulnerable. Not always, but this can be a risk factor. And finally, often we see financial difficulties and debt, unstable employment, and unstable housing. And we can see how these interact. For example, if you're having problems with employment, not earning much, then you might not be able to pay your rent or your mortgage. You might be getting into financial difficulties. So these are all connected. What I would say is that there's some really good suicide awareness training provided by the Zero Suicide Alliance. It's free, it's online, it takes around 40 minutes. And as well as the general course, which I think is great, they have other courses such as suicide awareness and autism, suicide awareness and veterans, and suicide awareness as students. So I've put the link in on the slide and it's really worth taking a look. If we could have the next slide, please, Liza. Okay, so here I've noted down a couple of local mental health services. The top one, the single point of access for if somebody needs urgent help or is in crisis. And then below that is talking therapies. So that's more like a counselling service, an NHS service that people can access. And then I've put a couple of men's groups that are local. And we do have all this information on a men's mental health flyer that I've just put a little image in the top right-hand corner that we can certainly send out this to you electronically or even hard copies if you'd prefer that. But Liza, you're going to pick up now and talk about
Thanks,
the
Catherine.
workforce. Thank you.
Thank you. So I just wanted to raise everyone's awareness really about a programme that we run within the council, coming to the workplace actually. So we bring our Healthy Workforce team to the workplace to offer free NHS health checks and kind of the healthy lifestyle advice and support to anybody aged between 25 and 74. So everybody that's over 40 could actually go to their doctor and get an NHS health check, but we've brought down that age range to 25 because we know that people are getting sicker earlier in their life. So that's an unfortunate reflection of society in some ways. So we're trying to pick up some diseases that perhaps people wouldn't necessarily think about being younger, but maybe they're kind of latently and will appear later in life. So we're kind of nipping it in the bud if we can. And we're aiming at the routine manual sector. So that's kind of like the hospitality, warehousing, retail, cleaning, domestic care, and some manufacturing. And that's kind of very well represented across the borough. So that's where we know that the people that work in this sector tend to have poorer health outcomes. So they tend to be more inclined to cardiovascular disease, type 2 diabetes, and some cancers. And these people often have limited opportunities to get to see their doctor. Perhaps they work in shifts or working long hours. They maybe don't even understand the kind of health system that's there on offer to them. And they're perhaps less inclined to seek advice. We speak to a lot of people where they have that inclination of sort of saying, well, I'd rather not know about my health. I'll just kind of let it, simmer away. So it's something to kind of get into that kind of population. And it doesn't have to be people that just live in the borough. Obviously, it's people that can work in the borough as well. It's very much part of our wider effort with public health to address health inequalities across the borough. It's a very diverse borough, and we do have a big disparity between some populations and others in terms of their health outcomes later in life. So our big ask of any employer is open to anybody, especially, as I say, between the routine and manual sectors. Just give us space. We can set up. We've got a very good team of people. Our health outreach team, if you've ever come across them, come with us. We encourage people to give us some space, promote the visit, which is really important, promote amongst your workforce beforehand and on the day to encourage them to come and spare a bit of time and come and see us. Some people might just want to come and have a chat and pick up some leaflets. We obviously have lots of flyers and things, such as the men's mental health one, and then they can actually get this health check as well. The benefits, obviously, of the employer, we've discussed this already. Obviously, there's increasing employee engagement with the workplace. They feel a little bit more involved in their workplace and feel valued, which is very important. And I think that does impact upon retention. I think people that feel valued at their workplace tend to stay where they are. There's reduced absence if people do have health conditions that they're unaware of and they can get addressed because of the visit that they've made to us. This will mean that there's some reduced absence further down the line of any kind of undiagnosed long-term conditions. So as I said, the health check is like the big ticket item, I guess, is our big offer. It's free, it takes about 20 minutes, and it's for anybody eligible between ages of 25 to 74. And what you get on the day is a pinprick of blood. You go into a kind of mobile clinic, you'll get your BMI checked, your blood pressure, and then you have your blood cholesterol and sugar levels measured as well, and you get the results at the end of the session. I have to reinforce this kind of eligibility thing. If people have already got long-term health conditions or they've had a health check with their doctor in the past 5 years, they won't be eligible for this service because they're already kind of being sorted out by the health system already. This is very much to check people who don't know they've got anything wrong at the moment. So as I said, the results are available at the end of the day, end of the check, and they're kept confidential from the employer, but they do go onto the NHS health system because it needs to be sent back to the employee's GP so they can pick it up from there. If people do have some conditions that are picked up on the day, we can give them lots of healthier lifestyle advice, and you can even sign up to our free Healthy Hounslow health and wellbeing scheme, which helps with all sorts of lifestyle factors. And a big one is to help people give up smoking. So we have some free professionals, stop smoking advisors on site, and they will help you to give up smoking. They can give you up to a 12-week support plan. And the thing that we're extending at the moment is to actually offer this on site for the full 12 weeks. So if there's an employer out there that has maybe a reasonable number of people smoking that feel like they could benefit from support to give up, we can arrange some clinics on site through a 12-week period, and we could even do like a hybrid session where you can have some on site and some online. It depends on really what the employer and what the employee wants to do. And this isn't just for the routine manual sector, this is for anybody across the board, because we know smoking affects everybody, but we're trying to focus on the routine manual in terms of the health checks. As well as the health checks, I'm just saying that we've got the healthy lifestyle advice. So we do cover a whole host of kind of healthy lifestyle information, including cancer screening, which is one of my fields, making sure that people are aware of their cancer screening eligibility ages, also cancer symptom awareness for the kind of younger people that haven't been caught by the cancer screening programme yet, and advice on keeping active, keeping a healthy weight, and then Catherine's work on the mental health support as well as drugs and alcohol support and advice. So that's a kind of brief summary of what we offer. We've been out to quite a few employers in the borough. We've always had some very good feedback about the impact that it's had on the workforce, and the kind of feedback from the employer, really appreciating that we can come out and bring it to the workforce, which is really important. But we're always looking for more. So if there's anybody out there that feels like they could benefit from a visit, just let me know. Catherine and my information are there, and I'm sure it's going to be shared with everybody after the session as well.
That's brilliant, thank you. Also, don't forget, we do have a database of 8,000, and I'm more than happy to send information out. So the NHS health check, more than happy to send that out to people. I appreciate it's scattergun, but there will be some people out there, I'm sure.
That's great.
Yeah, no, so please do get in touch. Thank you. Gosh, it's been an interesting morning. Our last speaker is Ramiro Salgado from R&B Coaching and Wellbeing. Ramiro is an executive and life mental fitness coach. He's based in West London, and he's on a mission to help leaders and organizations achieve a real success with lasting fulfillment. So basically, Ramiro, how do we cope? There's an awful lot of stuff going on out there. I need some tips, please. Over to you.
Well, brilliant. Thank you very much, Sally, and Alan and Lisa for hosting. Thank you, the London Borough of Hounslow, for sponsoring this webinar. We spend so much time in our workplace and working, and it plays such a big role in our lives. It's so much time and energy around work that the impact is so much. So raising the awareness is really, really important. And I appreciate the fact that you invited me. Let me just share my screen. I have a couple of slides that I like to share just to support our little conversation. So as Sally said, how do we cope? And how does a mental fitness program, how can this be of help to support a mental healthy place to be when we're at work? So let me start with a story about Roger. And this takes place 20 years ago, as I was starting my career in the IT industry. I was working for a consultancy firm, and this large company put out a tender. So it was a big project, and everyone who was was working in the sector was put out their proposals. It was a long process, long sales cycle. So finally, 1 year after they originally launched the tender, there was a short list. I wasn't on the short list, by the way, but Roger's company was. And Roger was the owner of this company, and he had maybe 200 employees. And it was really meaningful. And finally, the result came out, and Roger's company did not get the job, did not get the project. And Roger, actually, literally, when he heard the news, had a heart attack. So the impact was so much that he physically had a heart attack. And I remember there was two things that I noticed in my perception. First, it was a judgment. And I was thinking, how can someone be so vulnerable to something related to work? But also at the same time, I was thinking, could something like this ever happen to me? I was a young, ambitious executive back then. And eventually, I never got to have a heart attack, but I understood how can something like this have such a major impact. And I've just to give you some further context, I've worked in the professional services, financial industry services for 20 plus years, and I've developed businesses for myself, for other people, and I've achieved what you might call social success. But at some point, I've realized that I was being drained of energy, and I was very near to a point of burning out. So my transition from this corporate world to coaching and to becoming a mental fitness coach was really driven by a commitment to a work-life balance and a better relationship with myself and with the people that I care about, and overall well-being. I come from a very aggressive and demanding, fast-paced work environment, and I've seen people from senior leaders to young interns trade results and success for relationships and their own well-being. Many times not even realizing that they were doing so, but sometimes actually realizing that. So workplace challenges. We've seen some stats, and we know how they impact, and we know the numbers. We know that employers are losing money. You know that employees are losing their mental health. You know there's a huge economic, social impact. But actually what that means is also for the individual, it means excessive hours with stress and burnout, excessive number of tasks, frustration. It means self-doubt and imposter syndrome, and the lack of self-esteem. It means so often unmet expectations and forgotten dreams, and that the impact is the disappointment. And it also sometimes means core values and purpose friction, and the sadness and guilt and shame that comes with it. So how do we cope? Well, we cope with action. Well, we come up with strategies. We grind. We push through. We tell ourselves to do the responsible thing, do the right thing. We use discipline. And is that enough? Or sometimes does it still lead to exhaustion, frustration, and resentment? So how do we cope better? Well, we add to the action, we add some insight. So it's now common to attach meaning, purpose to our goals, to our actions, to our life. We set goals, we make a positive impact. And we embark on self-development journeys, like we do meditation, yoga, we read books, we attend events. But is that enough? Or do we find it difficult to follow through? Is there still frustration and disappointment? Let's look. I like to go to the dictionary, right? So cope, to deal with and attempt to overcome problems and difficulties. This very much sounds to me like survival mode, and that's fine. All the strategies that I just shared are good strategies. Are they enough, or do we want more? So the question is, how do we go beyond coping? How do we shift from survival mode to finding true meaning, building resilience, and thriving? Another way to put it is, how do we combine insight, the awareness, with sustainable action and the appropriate support system that will lead to success, which is a good thing, achieving our own goals, getting our results, but also fulfillment? And the answer is mental fitness. So just to introduce it very briefly, what do we do when we get physically sick? We go to the doctor. What do we do when we get mentally sick? We find help. There's therapy, there's counseling, there's resources. Mental fitness prevents getting sick. So that's the work we do. It's the equivalent of physical fitness. It's the mental equivalent of physical fitness. It's training through regular practices, strengthening awareness, recovery, and resilience. We build these frameworks for training and on the learnings from positive psychology, from neuroplasticity, CBT, emotional intelligence, coaching techniques, and tools. And we combine this in a framework where we actually treat the mind as a muscle. It's not, I know, but it's neuroscience. It's starting to treat it as one. And we develop our three main pillars, our three main brain muscles: inner power, drive, and connection. So from some actual people that are engaging in this mental fitness program, we hear things like Joey, great guy, says mental fitness is probably the biggest domino: right mindset, performance, and your overall mental fitness. Gavin, business owner, just thriving to get his business across with his team. And on the back of attending the mental fitness program, I was able to get more focused in the workplace, which was his biggest concern. Well, if you're a member of the West London Chambers of Commerce, we're starting in March, early March. We're starting a program specifically for the members. If you're not a member, you want to join, can benefit obviously from all the other benefits from being a member, but you can also take part of this program. And in brief, you will give you access to a platform, a mental fitness platform, where you can have bite-sized video lessons, weekly lessons, to daily, weekly, monthly build your mental resilience, get prepared for when the going gets tough. You have your daily guided practice, so you can take do it at your own pace, your own speed. You have interactive support, and there's a private community, so it's a big part of pushing through and following through and thriving. The fact that we'll be connecting with peers, and also I'll be showing up every week with a live masterclass on a specific topic regarding mental fitness and the brain muscles. Also, by joining, you become electable to one of 5 free one-to-one sessions. Well, if you want to start, so there's the insight. If you want to start taking action right now, I'm going to leave this for a few seconds. If you want to scan the QR code, you can get your free mental fitness score. It takes like 2 minutes. It's a simple quiz, and it's the first step to your mental fitness journey. If you have any questions, if you want to talk directly to me, scan the QR code and please DM me, and I'll be waiting and looking forward to engage. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much indeed, Ramiro. Thank you. I'm aware of time. There was one question in the one of our attendees asked how to measure the benefits of healthy workforce. Now, I think that was actually covered by Simon talking at the very beginning. I mean, my suggestion would be you actually sit down and you speak to them, and you make sure your door is always open and you're ready to speak when they're ready to talk. Alan, I'm sure that you have some questions. Could people turn their cameras back on? That would be lovely. And then before we go, we'll just have a few questions. Alan, over to you.
Wonderful. Thank you, Sally. What a superb group of presentations. In a way, very sobering, enlightening, but also troublesome. So some of the comments I've got were from Simon on your numbers. Wow, that was incredibly revealing. 1.9 million people and 40 million lost work days, 23 billions of lost income at work. That's equivalent to 1% of the UK's GDP.
It's massive.
Down to sickness. It's huge.
Yeah.
And Emma, crisis in our community, rough sleepers. How do we do something about that? It's a travesty in today's world we live in that as the fourth, fifth biggest economy in the world, we can't help our own rough sleepers on the street. We need to do something more. And the amount of ex-servicemen and men that are rough sleepers, I'd love to know what the numbers are between men and women who are rough sleepers, and whether there's a link between that and men's suicide rates. Wow, 75% of suicides are men. That's unbelievable. It's really shows us men need to talk and be a bit more open about our feelings, what's going on. I salute you women. You managed to be a lot freer in what you can talk about with yourselves. We need to learn some things here. Lisa, you talked about going for health checks. I'm actually going for my health check on Friday afternoon. I've got to try and stay calm and sensible for that. I've got that going on. And I'll get rid of that incoming WhatsApp call. Ramiro, your presentation was really good. Doing mental fitness approach, having an idea of where you stand is a very subtle way of people not wanting to talk about it, but can do something directly themselves that's interactive and have a better idea of what their own mental state and frame of mind is. And once they've perhaps got to a point of opening that up, they can then go to seek a bit more advice and help. There's a lot of people out there. And the presentations that we've seen today really do show the help that's out there. I'm trying to sum up some of the comments rather than ask lots of questions, because the time's now 1 minute past 11 and Sally's normally got one eye twittering and the other eye on a watch saying the hour's up, it's time to move on. So I really want to thank all of you for some incredibly enlightening presentations that make you all feel not that there's a big problem out there, but there's help out there. And there's help with just people just need to open up a little bit. And a good way of doing that is not using the internet to see all of the bad statistics out there, but come onto our website and see some of the things that we can do to try and bring about some little bit of spark, a little bit of vitality in life. So our next meeting, Sally, is on Friday morning, conveniently at the David Lloyd Health Centre for this event in Acton, where we're going to be talking about some of the things that you can do in your business, some of the things that you can do to help yourselves in the new year, a new way of planning for what can be achieved in 2026. Don't look at the news too much. It's way too depressing. Come along to a West London Chamber of Commerce event and see how people are around you, that the community that we have in West London can genuinely help to get yourself mentally better, focus for the new year and a way to move forward. Back to you, Sally.
I just want to say thank you very much, Alan. That was a very good summation of the morning. It will be on our YouTube channel, as I say. I do want to thank Hounslow Council again for helping make this happen, and to all our speakers. As I say, I love it when I get members. I mean, Simon, I never really understood what you did, and now I have a much better understanding. So it really helps. So please do support your local chamber. We're here to help you, and you know, all power to our elbows for 2026. Thank you very much indeed. Thank you.
There's my elbow. Thank you. Bye-bye.
Cheers. Take care. Bye-bye.